Hi students, in last session in the chapter of motion we discussed about what is motion, what is straight line motion, what is displacement, what is distance, and recalling the definitions of the motion, displacement and distance. What is motion here? Motion is nothing but change in the position of the object. What is distance? The total path length covered by an object. And what is displacement? Displacement is nothing but the shortest distance covered by an object. So we are going to continue in this class about the motion, and also in last session we studied about some of the problems about displacement and the distance. So now we are going to study about continuity of the motion chapter. That is another one important point, uniform motion. What is uniform motion? Uniform motion, any object covers equal distance in equal intervals of time, and then this motion is called it as uniform motion. What is uniform motion? Any object that covers equal distance in equal intervals of time. That is, I am considering one example here. A car moving from point A to B. Imagine that a car is moving from A to the point B. In a first 10 seconds, the car covers 10 meter. Again in next 10 seconds, the car moves again 10 meter, and last 10 seconds, the car moves again 10 meter. Then the motion of the car, the type of the motion of the car is said to be in uniform motion. So what is uniform motion? Any object that covers equal distance in equal intervals of time, that motion is said to be uniform motion. What are the examples for the uniform motions? The uniform motion is one of the most suitable example for uniform motion is nothing but motion of the earth around the sun. Remember, after every 365 days we have a 1 year. So what it is about? This is nothing but the earth takes 365 days of time to cover a one turn around the sun. This is always a constant. The earth covers every time the earth covers equal distance in equal intervals of time around the sun. So therefore we are going to say the motion of the earth around the sun is said to be uniform motion. Another one example is nothing but motion of the hands of a clock. They are also cover equal distance in equal intervals of time. Therefore the motion of the hands of a watch is an example for uniform motion. So then next we are going to move towards non-uniform motion. So all the vehicles which are travels now, they are in non-uniform motion. Any vehicle doesn't cover the uniform motion. So see here, what is non-uniform motion? It is exactly opposite to the uniform motion. Any object which covers unequal distance in unequal intervals of time. Any object that covers unequal distance in equal intervals of time, that motion is said to be non-uniform motion. For example, again considering here, a car moves from the point A to B. In a non-uniform motion, what happens? See here. What is the meaning of non-uniform motion? Object covers unequal distance in equal intervals of time. That is, a car moves from the point A to B. In first 10 seconds, it covers about a 10 meter distance. After 10 seconds, equal intervals of time, it may cover 20 meter, and after 10 seconds it may cover only 5 meter. The motion of the car in this case is said to be non-uniform motion. So non-uniform motion is always any object on the earth, so they are in non-uniform motion. That is nothing but vehicles. Any vehicles, they are in non-uniform motion. What is meant by non-uniform motion? Any objects that covers unequal distance in equal intervals of time, that motion should be said to be non-uniform motion. Next we are going to study about speed. Any object that covers the motion, it has some speed. Then what is speed? Speed is nothing but a distance traveled by an object in an unit time. Distance traveled by an object in a unit time. For example, I am considering here a car moves from A to B. I consider this point as a B. A car moves from A to B. That the distance between A to B is 10 meter and it covers in a 10 seconds. Then how much distance that car will be traveled from A to B in 1 second is nothing but the speed of the car. So what is the speed? Speed is nothing but distance traveled by an object. Distance traveled by an object in a 1 second or in a unit time is known as speed. So note here, since the speed of the object is not constant at all the time, so every object, any object on the earth which are any vehicles you are going to take, is it maybe a bus, is it maybe a car, is it maybe a cycle, so any object not covers equal distance. So since the speed of the object is not a constant, so we are going to take the speed as a average speed. See, note down this note. Since the speed of the object is not constant at all time in most cases, because objects moves in a non-uniform motion, therefore we can measure the rate of the motion in terms of average speed. So why we are not going to take the speed of the object? Because all the objects moves in the non-uniform motion. They are not covering equal distance in equal intervals of time. They are going to cover unequal distance in equal intervals of time. Therefore, we are not going to measure speed of the object, but we are going to measure average speed of the object. What is average speed? What is the average speed of the object? Average speed of the object is nothing but V average is equal to total distance traveled by an object divided by total time taken. That is, V average is equal to S. The S represents the total distance traveled by an object divided by T represents total time taken. That is, V average is equal to S divided by T. The SI unit of speed is meter per second or kilometer per hour. Using this formula, we are going to find out the average speed of an object. So we are not going to find out the speed of the object because the objects are not in the uniform motion. They are in the non-uniform motion. Therefore, we are going to calculate the average speed of the object. Okay, next we are going to study about velocity. What is velocity? Velocity is nothing but the rate of change of displacement with the time is called as velocity. What is the speed? The rate of change of the object covered distance. The distance covered by an object in a unit time is called as a speed. But what is velocity? The rate of change of displacement with the time is called as velocity. That is, velocity is equal to displacement divided by total time taken. So you have to remember, don't get confusion about a speed and a velocity. What is the speed? Speed, it is nothing but the distance covered by an object in a unit time, that is called as a speed. What is velocity? The rate of change of displacement. The rate of change of displacement with the time is called as a velocity. Velocity is equal to displacement divided by time. And we are going to calculate also velocity in terms of average velocity. What is average velocity? Is equal to initial velocity plus final velocity divided by 2. That is, V average is equal to U plus V divided by 2. That is, and the SI unit of velocity is meter per second. So why we are going to calculate average velocity? Because velocity is also varies with the time. Therefore, we are going to calculate average velocity of the object. Average velocity of the object, V average, is equal to initial velocity plus final velocity divided by 2. That is, the U represents the initial velocity and the small v represents the final velocity. That is, VAV, the average velocity VAV is equal to U plus V divided by 2. So then what are the difference between speed and velocity? See clearly. This question may be asked for 2 marks question in your examination. They are going to ask, write down the difference between speed and velocity. So see clearly. In speed, it has only magnitude. When you are going to calculate the speed of the object, you are not going to consider the direction, in which direction it may going. They are directly giving one object that covered some distance in some time. They are going to calculate, you are going to calculate the speed of the object. There is no need of direction here. But when you are going to calculate the velocity, it has both magnitude and direction, because so when you are going to calculate the velocity, you are going to consider the direction, because the displacement it is the shortest distance. To find out the shortest distance covered by an object, we need directions. Therefore, so what is the first difference between the speed and velocity is, speed has only magnitude. It doesn't has any direction, but it has both magnitude and direction. Velocity has both magnitude and direction. And another one difference between speed and velocity is, it is a scalar quantity. Why it is a scalar quantity? Because it has only magnitude, and the velocity, it is a vector quantity. Why it is a vector quantity? It has both magnitude and a direction. And third one is, speed is always positive. Yes, when you are going to calculate the speed of the object at any instant, it comes the positive value only. Why? Because there is no direction, therefore it comes only positive value. But when you are going to consider the velocity, it may be a positive or a negative. When you are going to calculate the displacement, sometimes the object maybe comes backward. So in that time we are going to consider the reverse velocity, that is negative velocity. Therefore the value of the velocity may be positive or may be negative. These are the main differences between the speed and velocity. So now we are going to calculate some examples on velocity and the speed. Take down first one. Consider the first one example. An object travels 16 meter in 4 seconds, and then another 16 meters in 2 seconds. What is the average speed of the object? What is the average speed of the object? Solution. Once again, you have to read the problem clearly. An object travels 16 meter in 4 seconds. I am considering here an object travels 16 meter in 4 seconds, and another 16 meter in 2 seconds. An object travels 16 meter in 4 seconds and then another 16 meter in 2 seconds. What they are asked? What is the average speed of the object? Average speed, AV is equal to what? That is average speed. AV is equal to total distance covered by the object divided by total time taken. That is equal to, the total distance traveled by the object is nothing but 16 meter plus 16 meter, that is nothing but 32 meter, divided by the total time taken is 4 seconds plus 2 seconds, that is 6 seconds. Therefore, the average velocity of the object is VAV is equal to 5.33 5.33 meter per second. This is the one of the easiest problems that can be asked for your examination for 1 marks or 2 marks. See clearly, they are going to give the speed that they are going to give the distance covered by the object in a time interval, and they are going to ask the average velocity. You are going to calculate in an easy way. See students, under one problem, the odometer of a car reads 2000 km at the start of a trip and 2004 km at the end of a trip. If the trip took 8 hours, calculate the average speed of the car in km per hour and a meter per second. See clearly, the odometer of a car reads 2000 km at the start of a trip. So given distance is equal to distance traveled by the car, that is at the end of the trip it is 2400 km, minus at the start of a trip is 2000 km. That gives the total distance traveled by the car, that is distance traveled by the car, it is nothing but 2400 minus 2000, that is 400 km. Then what they give, the car covers 400 km it took the time of 8 hours, that is time t is equal to given 8 hours. Then what they are asked, average velocity, average speed of the car. The average speed of the car V average is equal to total distance covered by the car divided by time taken. That is equal to, the total distance covered by the car is 400 km and the total time taken is 8 hours. 8 ones are 8 50s are, that is V average is equal to 50 km per hour. But they are asked the average velocity in terms of meter per second also. So we are going to convert the 50 km per hour in terms of meter per second, that is multiply and divide by 1000 meter divided by 1 kilometer into 1 hour divided by 3600 seconds. Why? Because 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters. So we are going to multiply with the 1000 to convert the given data in terms of meter per second, and we are going to multiply and divide by 1 hour divided by 3600 seconds, because for an hour about 3600 seconds are there. So here these two zeros are get cancelled, this kilometer get cancelled, this hour get cancelled, remaining is meter per second, and write down the remaining thing, 50 into 10, that is meter, divided by 36 second, that is equal to 500 divided by 36 meter per second. If you are going to compute this problem, you get 1.33 meter per second, that is V average is equal to 1.33 meter per second. The average speed of the car in terms of meter per second is 1.33 meter per second. These types of problems may ask in your examination for 1 marks or 2 marks questions. So you are going to you have to concentrate on these problems. Okay students, in the next session we are going to study some more problems on velocity and speed. Thank you.